It's a story that's sadly becoming all too common, as it's been revealed that dog-nappings in the UK have increased by 20% in the past year.
And in a new documentary released this week, the problem was made all too real. My goodness.
Well, we're joined now by Livvy Haydock, the reporter from the documentary, alongside Ceilidh Barclay and her dog, Eco, who featured in it. So good morning to both of you. All three of you, in fact.
Yeah.
So we'll come to you in just a moment, because your story is extraordinary, Ceilidh. And let's start, first of all, with Livvy. This is your documentary. As we said, the number of stolen pets rose by 20% in 2020. The price for puppies rose 450% in lockdown.
That's right.
And there are, with this particular crime, less consequences than dealing drugs.
Yeah, which has created the inevitable that drug dealers and gang members have actually switched to selling and stealing dogs because it's become so lucrative in the lockdown demand.
And it's really important to point out here that it's not just puppies that are being stolen.
That's right, yeah. It's shocking, actually. It's any dog that perhaps could be used for breeding. While doing research for the programme, I spoke to people who, because it's hard to tell if a female dog is spayed or not. You know, you can tell with a male dog just at a glance. And so people are actually even taking female dogs that they can't see that they've been spayed and trying to force them to breed. And
you could see in that part of the documentary that we watched there that there is absolutely no empathy whatsoever here.
No, it is so hard because I'm an absolute dog lover, and this is why I wanted to do the programme. I've got a dog and he's my world. And so for other people to be going through this, it breaks my heart and it's my worst fear. So to hear directly from the people that are doing it, I thought was essential, because these guys are a drop in the ocean. This is happening across the country. And to better understand how we could be safer, prevent it happening, I want to talk to the guys who are doing it. And they said themselves, look, we're not going to stop until the demand eases or the laws change, because at the moment it's low risk, high reward.
And that's because the law at the moment states that a dog is seen as like a possession, really, so it's no different from theft of an item, like a phone or something, so they're not taking it seriously enough. So this means then that what you have done is met lots of people who are playing pet detective, and they're sort of taking the law into their own hands, doing the job that they believe the police should be doing.
Well, yeah, it's incredible. There's been this sort of movement online, helped by social media, of these people who are volunteers, are doing it for nothing, who are retrieving people's dogs. And it's quite extraordinary the lengths they'll go to. It's incredible. I applaud them. And they are really filling this void that, due to the current legislation, the police aren't necessarily acting on as much as maybe they could.
And also, in another twist, dogs are being stolen, and then the owners are being blackmailed to buy their own dogs back for thousands of pounds.
Yeah, it's outrageous. And I mean, I think that the tragedy is the thieves have totally realised they know exactly what they're doing and what it means to people, but to them they just see money. It's super lucrative. People do anything to get their dogs back, and sadly that's what's happening. And that's why the legislation, we want this film to really bring up this discussion and to try and get something firmer in place, because this will just continue until it is stopped.
OK, Livvy, thank you for now.
Thank you.
Ceilidh, you're here with Eco, so as we can see, this story has a happy ending, because you're one of the few that actually got your precious pet, your part of your family, back, and is here now. So just explain what happened, because it was quite late at night, but you were taking Eco out for sort of a last-minute walk, quick pee before bed, and what happened?
Last-minute pee, took her off the lead as normal. There was nobody around. It was about 2 a.m, streets were quiet, no cars. I was chatting with my partner. Within 5 minutes of being there, we heard like an ushering, like this. Both of us heard it, so we weren't just one of us, is that in my head or something? Looked up at the same time as hearing the sound, and she'd vanished. Like there was no people in, no cars, and no dog around. At this point, I thought she could have run back to the front door, because we lived just across the street. Immediately went there, and she wasn't there. And then that
heart
boom,
sank.
That's when the heart sank.
Yeah, so at that stage, what do you do, knowing that this...
She's just saying hello.
Just saying hello.
Yeah,
OK.
absolutely.
Yeah, it's a nice way to say hello. You're right there.
Absolutely, just hi.
Yeah, fine. She's a little bit nervous about things like that.
Sorry.
This is fine. We'll be laughing about this for weeks. What do you do in those circumstances?
Well, it's a moment of panic, and there really is nothing you can do in that moment, especially at 2 a.m. Who can you call? There's no one else, no one to help you.
Yeah.
So we had to just wait till the next morning. I called my father and I told him the news. We immediately started printing and making posters and just flyed them up and down the main street.
And so your advice to anybody, because as we've heard with the laws on how this works when you go to the police and that they're seen as possessions and not the loving pets that we all consider them to be, is social media right here is the most important thing, really.
100%. I'm not the biggest social media user, but hand to my heart, that is the place that will help you the most. You know, that's where most of people look at every single day. You will spread your word that way. You've got to make your dog too hot to handle, which is the phrase, you know, completely bombard people with it. And yeah, that's how it was done.
Because the chances for a while, I suppose, the dog will probably, for a bit, stay local.
Yeah, but she turned out to be very close, actually, for the whole, like, she was gone for a month, exactly, and she was about 20 minutes away from the original spot.
So how did you get her back? What happened? Because this is the extraordinary part of the story.
Yeah, so throughout the month we had leads, loads of dead leads, which really got me down. And towards actually finding her, I was very close to giving up. You know, I almost wasn't getting out of bed. I was like, I can't do postering today, there's no point. But we got this call from a lady who said, I think I've seen your dog go for a wee. You know, it was a black dog, it was late at night, I can't be sure, but she had this instinct, you know. She said, come and check it out. So as I was going to chat to the lady, I was sitting in the bottom floor flat where she was opening up a doggy daycare or something like that. And as I was sitting there, something clicked in my mind to one of the posts on Facebook had a stranger commented to say that they'd had a psychic reading with my dog.
Wow.
Which in the moment I didn't really give it a time of thought because I felt like it was wasting my time, I was getting my hopes up. But it was something along the lines of your dog's in a first floor flat, they can see out of a window, they can see a blue building, a pallet and a telegraph pole. Which is very specific.
Exactly the scene that you were now sitting in front of. So peculiar, whatever you want to think of that, it is odd that they pretty much painted the scene. So then what happened?
So that made me stay for at least 7 hours. That was my, you know, I was stationed there. I can't believe what I'm seeing. I was like, no way is this going to be true. Stayed for the time it would take for a dog to go for a pee. And yeah, 7 hours later, she trotted out the front door.
Not on a lead?
Not on a lead. So there was a woman, it was a block of flats, a woman standing there with the door open, a bush just in front of the door. Obviously, the dog would go out for a wee and come straight back in. I'd actually just exited the car a moment before this, trying to walk past the flat. So in my tracks, as I was walking towards, that's when she ran out and, you know, stopped at my tracks. I said her name one time, Eco, not very loudly, didn't want to cause anything. She stopped in her tracks and ran straight to me.
And you got her back?
Yeah.
Back in the car and...
Swiped her up, ran to the car and drove off, and the lady was left standing there screaming her head off, but she did not react in a way that you would if your dog was being napped.
Yeah.
You know, you wouldn't just stand there and say, what the hell? You would pounce, right?
Yeah. So did you think about contacting the police?
Yeah, the police
I mean, you know
were
who she
contacted.
is?
Sorry?
You know who she is?
The woman?
Yeah.
I don't.
But you know where she is?
I know where she is, I know the location, but the police were contacted at the beginning, and throughout I did have a guy stationed to me to have an email back and forth communication. But as I mentioned in the Vice episode, it is as if your dog is an iPhone, that's how much attention you would get, and you wouldn't report that.
Was Eco okay when you got her back?
She was all right. I mean, I heard a few stories, but I never will know the truth. The one thing, she did come back with all of her nails painted silver.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Gives me a little bit sense of hope because it means she was lying down somewhere comfortable to have her nails painted, but...
Wow,
that is really
bizarre.
weird.
That is really strange.
Thank you for
Thank you
telling
both,
us. Thank you for highlighting it. Livvy, thank you. That documentary that we've been talking about, The Gangs That Steal Your Puppies, is available to watch on Vice's YouTube channel. And so you can watch that whenever you like. And thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.